at Warped Tour 2009 with Tomas from Streetlight Manifesto, which is my favorite band on the whole tour.
Cool.
How are you? How are you today?
Good. I'm good. Yesterday we were woken up and told we had to play immediately, so today we actually got to wake up at our own leisure, so it's been nice.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you guys are on the whole Warped Tour,
yeah,
which is pretty amazing. You're one of the few ska bands. There's always a handful.
Yeah.
And it's a
really
good group this year. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean, the lineup?
The ska bands. Less Than Jake. And,
yeah, Less Than Jake.
And then Westbound Train.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I think there's one.
Big D is on.
Big D, yeah, Big D.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if actually, all of them are doing the whole tour, I think. And, yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about your music, because it's a little different from most ska music out there. It's really,
we don't even consider ourselves to be a ska band per se. We're more of, everyone hates classifying their music and whatnot, but ska is something you have to tread so lightly with, because there's so many, ironically Nazi-like purists out there who will rip you apart because you don't, fit the part of the ska band or whatever. So our approach to it, the whole thing, is just to ignore everyone and just kind of do what you want to do. Personally, I think our music leans more towards punk rock than ska. We definitely don't go out of our way to, don the checkerboard flag or whatnot. It was definitely an influence on some of us growing up and whatnot, but we're more concerned with high energy, like punk rock vibes. We're not particularly
that was bad.
We're not particularly concerned with people running in place as much as people letting their energy out in whichever way they want to and just kind of rocking out, because that's what we do.
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean, you guys' songs are definitely now that you say you don't consider yourself ska, I see where you're coming from, because the lyrics are a lot darker than most ska tunes. Like Real Big Fish, you tour a lot with them.
Yeah.
And their tunes are notoriously happy.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah. I mean, but
serious.
we don't even think about it. It's not a reaction to anything. It's just the music we make, and the lyrics have always been like that in our band. That's just the lyrics I write. So it's not necessarily a reaction to anything. That's the ska thing. Like that's the thing. Everyone kind of puts this whole ska thing on us, but there's so many different influences in our lives, and to us musically, that it'd be kind of unfairly narrowing things down to just be like, oh, we're a ska band. And also because there's such a stigma with the ska bands. People really expect you to play a very specific or narrow, in a very specific or narrow way, especially traditional ska bands. This is going to be awesome. Hey guys, can you come back in with you?
Sure. You guys are having a party in here.
So for example, traditional ska bands, they it's almost like a set of rules you have to follow, from how you dress to how you play your instrument. And we've always been kind of like do whatever we want type people, whether it's how we dress or how we play our instruments. And we catch a lot of shit for it. Some people appreciate it. So some people dig us, some people hate us.
Okay. Yeah, your music, the songs tend to go through a lot of different changes, almost like acts in a play or something.
Yeah, we try to complicate things as much as possible in life and in music.
Where does that come from? How do you go about writing a song that has so many different tones to it in a 7-minute, 6-minute period?
Once again, it's not really intentional. Usually if there's a subject that I want to write a song about, or if I'm digging a certain key that I'm writing in, I kind of leave everything in instead of like editing things out. And I'm also really anal retentive about it takes me forever to finish something, so I keep on adding to it, and I can't edit things out because I'm like, oh, I really like this part, I don't want to take it out. So I end up just stringing all these parts together. And some people get frustrated because sometimes you have to sit down and listen for like 6 minutes to a Streetlight song.
Yeah. And
it's usually pretty heavy or fast, so we try to break it up within the 6 minutes. But sometimes it's more of an investment than people from like a ska band. And for example, for tours like this, for the Warped Tour, we have half an hour. So for some bands that's like 10, 12 songs. For us, it's like 5 or 6. So
yeah, is it tough being on Warped Tour and having to choose those 5 or 6 songs?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. We know pretty much. We have like I think 12 or 13 songs that we're playing on this tour. So we're just kind of rotating them in. Whenever we feel like, different days.
Okay.
Or we're going to be trying to. We just started. So yeah, there's like I said, there's a list of songs that we choose from. So yeah, it's pretty easy.
And your second album was a re-recording of the first Catch-22 album.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys decide that you wanted to do basically a cover album of tunes that you had written?
It was kind of I don't want to say it was a forced decision, but our record label was, once we started picking up steam, our record label wanted to put out, re-release the Catch-22 record, because it was obviously related to Streetlight Manifesto. I wrote both records, so they wanted to re-release it, I guess, as a way to capitalize on the Streetlight gaining momentum. And at the time, Catch and us weren't necessarily getting along, so I thought that was kind of a cheap shot. So I offered, the only way I could think of to stop the whole process was I just said, like, listen, let us re-record it. That way, like I said, there was some, I don't want to say bad blood, but there was some weirdness between us and Catch, and I didn't necessarily want them re-releasing a record of songs that I wrote, during high school, about my high school years. And it's a group of guys who kind of had animosity towards us at the time. So I thought it was kind of silly. So I offered to re-record it, and just re-recorded it and put it out. Not exactly stoked on the idea or on how it turned out, but the goal was to kind of prevent the simple re-release of the record. So not to mention, I hate the whole re-release thing unless you actually do something to music, because they'll throw a new album cover on. They actually asked me to redesign the album cover, and I was like, well, I don't want to redesign an album cover for a record that's the music's already been out for 7 years or whatever it's been. So yeah, we just decided to do the whole thing again.
Okay. Did that put kind of like an unnecessary break in between your first and second original?
No, not really, because we were just pretty much touring so much that we didn't have time to work on the second original record. So it was a way we just hopped in the studio and cranked something out real quick, like I said, as a preventative measure. And then, once we got a break from touring, because we tour a lot in general, but in the beginning we really toured a lot, pretty much nonstop, so we just didn't have any time to, the songs were there, but, they were just acoustic doodles, on my laptop or wherever. So, so after a while we took some time off and actually started to record the next record.
Okay. So, the second record came out, or the third, technically, record came out like a year and a half ago?
Yeah. November 2000.
Yeah. How long is it going to be? How long do we have to wait for number 3?
I've given up making any speculations on that just because I'm horrible at it. And I'll say next year, and it'll come out 6 or 7 years from now.
Okay.
So what I'm saying now is, we're finishing up a covers record right now. As soon as that's done, and as soon as Warped Tour is done, we got a couple short tours right after that. But then we're taking a nice, not a hiatus, we're just taking some time off from touring to specifically work on the next record, and the plan is to not go on tour again until that record's done. So, 6 or 7 years from now.
So it could be a while.
No.
Until we see Streetlight Manifesto.
No, actually, no. No. Wait, what?
Live?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah. Well, no, it's not going to be like a huge. Maybe 6 months. We'll take 6 months off to, get the record together and finish it. And so many times we've meant to put out a new record, and then a tour comes up, and we take the tour because it's a great opportunity or it's a cool tour or whatever, and then we just keep on postponing our record. So this time around, we're in a place where we've done a bunch of great tours, and I don't see anything coming along that would, in the near future, that would make us put the next record on hiatus. So the priority after this couple tours coming up is the next record. That's it.
Are you guys doing a headlining tour after Warped Tour, or just some supporting stuff?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that. Just because, you'll find out in the next few weeks. Just logistically, I'm not supposed to talk about anything like that.
But we can look forward to more.
Yeah, there's going to be there's a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more, and then we're definitely. We're going to South America in September, and we're going to play Leeds, Reading in late August. But then we're going to do a little something after that. But like I said, I'm not supposed to talk about that.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about you guys is as soon as you guys come to town, you leave for a little bit, and then once I'm ready for another Streetlight show, chances are you're coming back.
We're back.
In like a couple weeks or a month.
Yeah.
So what else on the Warped Tour? There's a ton of bands here. Is there anyone that you're excited to see?
Yeah. I grew up listening to NoFX. I grew up listening to Bad Religion. I grew up listening to actual punk rock, not 85% of the stuff that's on this tour. I'm not into the whole fashion core scene and whatnot, and all the pop punk or the dance pop or whatever these bands are doing. I feel like a black sheep walking around here, because we just look like